Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. As I mentioned in the daily financial news this morning, I have a special guest at 10 o'clock. We got the man from San Antonio, Texas. Let's welcome Charles to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm so honored for you to give me this time. Appreciate you.
Oh, man, I think you have a very interesting story. You and I have been doing this a long time, multiple decades. And the first time I bring you on the show, Charles, we just got to go back to the beginning. I know might be a little PTSD because both of us started before the crash, which means we probably felt some pain. But the story ends really, really well. So, Charles, why don't you first introduce yourself, who you are, what you do now, and then we'll get in a time machine and go back to where it started.
Great. So my name is Charles. A lot of people call me Uncle Charles because maybe I'm getting a little older and all that stuff. But I run this company here with my partner Michael Yanis. It's the name of it's HBHS. It's actually a series of different companies. We do a lot of stuff here. I couldn't do it without my team. I'm very big on team. So we got guys doing land, guys doing multifamily, guys doing wholesaling, reverse wholesaling, MLS wholesaling. We break it all down into different stuff. We do a lot of subject twos. We hold a pretty good, a sizable, respectable portfolio. A lot of it's made up of sub two rentals, sub two RBs, sub two wraps. So we're real big on that. And then of course we do a lot of creative financing. That's our backbone, those two things. But other than that, we have, we invested in a beautiful office. It's about a 5,000 square foot office, very nice, it's a very beautiful office because we wanted all our people to feel good about where they come to work, and they're all here as entrepreneurs. There's not one person in here that's an employee. Nice. They all work with us, not for us. That's our philosophy, and that's what we do, brother.
There you go. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna get into all that creative financing stuff, but as promised, let's jump in that time machine. Go back to when this all started. So Charles, when did real estate investing first bite you and you sort of get your taste of that?
Around 2003. Around 2003, I was actually part at the time, the internet was booming, right? At the time, it was crazy. And I actually was brought on board with a credit restoration company that I got on with. Okay. And they actually were national at the time. And it was crazy the way this guy was growing exponentially. And then some things started happening. So I just broke away and I did my own thing. I was getting a lot of traction. And the thing about it back then, what people don't realize is that when you make cold calling, you go to the yellow book, the yellow book, and you tear out the pages, you start making calls.
Yeah. And
that was the old school way, or you knock on people's doors. And I got to know a lot of mortgage brokers. Back then, there was a lot of brokers before the government stepped in. And having said that, I got real close with them. And I just, one day I said, hey, I got some deals. How about I bring them here? And I was fortunate enough that two brokers said, why don't you do the deals? And they just started teaching me. And then I started getting pretty good at it. About 3 months, I just started learning. I was pouring everything into it. And I ended up coming on board with a broker shop. And within 6 months, I ended up taking over as the manager of the shop. Wow. And then I ended up running a few mortgage banks and a broker shop. So it was pretty fabulous what I was doing. I had quite a few LOs that were working under my umbrella. Remember, I never consider people employees, so they were working with us. It's not for us. And running those shops taught me a lot, man. We were doing conventional loans, a lot of Govy loans, FHA, USDA, and VA loans. So I got really good at that stuff. And then 2008 hit.
Yeah, so we'll put this behind us in a minute. So kind of pre-2008, you were on the lending side. You were helping homeowners, buyers. Basically, you were one of those folks like The Big Short. That's a movie I'm sure all of us have seen. You were feeding the beast, right? Wall Street was hungry for loans, and you were feeding the beast, right? Is that fair?
I never did. I never oversaw many conventional loans.
Okay.
So I like to say that I didn't feed the beast that much, right?
Okay, fair enough.
But I oversaw a lot of Govy loans. Now I did recognize somewhere around 2006 and 2007. I was talking to a few, with a few friends of mine because everybody was involved at the time, and I was like, man, this doesn't look right, man. We got a lot of loan officers putting people into adjustable rate mortgage loans just to refinance them again and double dip.
Yeah.
And there's a conflict there. and everybody was doing it. And in the end, that's what ended up breaking the back of the system.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to believe, man. I've gone back and done the research. Actually went back 50 years, but back in, I think it was '07, 50% of the loans that were originated were somehow adjustable.
Yeah.
And today it's less than 5%. But yeah, those adjustables, those 2 and 28s, those NAGAMs, all of that toxic nonsense was just built. It was built to blow up, and boy, did it blow up.
The pick-a-pays, I remember we'll say.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was. Yeah, I mean, in 2007, I wasn't really big into conventionals. We threw a loan up to some company in New Jersey. I think it was MTI or something. And it had a social name. It was called a NINA, no income, no assets. And they approved it at a 560 credit score. I was like, oh, whoa.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong here, man.
Yeah. Yeah. NINA, no income, no assets, 560 credit score, got approved in a heartbeat. It was, yeah, Wall Street was hungry. I mean, it was bad. So, okay. So the market blows up, you know, real estate, my market, man, fell 75% from the peak. All right. There was a house I had that was worth 300 that suddenly retrades, I don't know, 2 years later when the debt blows up at 75. So I've seen it blow up in person. How did it go for you? I'm guessing mortgage business kind of dried up and you had to go somewhere else.
Well, the thing of it is that I was in the mortgage business, but I was helping a lot of investors get into transactions, you know, and so I learned a lot dealing with investors, and I ended up doing some of my own deals, and I was learning a lot, and I had a few homes, and I was on top of the world. Not coming from the street, because that's you know, that's where I grew up, you know. When you amass a good chunk of money, you know, and I thought I was on top of the world with about 3 million in assets. Yeah. I thought I was on top. What ended up happening when everything started crashing, you don't shut down right away because things are falling apart. Nobody does that. Yeah. And I was actually a novice in that arena at that height, at whatever status I was at. I was a novice at that height. And I didn't really realize that the market was collapsing around us. And you know, you're just focused on what you're doing. And next thing I knew, and I tell this to a lot of people, especially a lot of people today that are making money and they're flashing and stuff. I'm like, guys, $2 million, $1 million, $3 million, it's nothing, man. Because I saw it come out of my hands like that. It was just pouring out of me, and I couldn't stop it, man. Because you know, I had all these accounts, credit accounts, leases, and you know, I went downhill pretty bad, man. And you know, once the govy stepped in, they got the NMLS going, and it got real bad. And I saw some really hard times. You know, I filed bankruptcy twice, a 7, then a 13. I'm not ashamed to share that. That's what happened. I lost in 2010. Let me put it this way. In January of 2011, brother, I had $200 in my pocket, and I had about $8,000 nut coming every single month. Wow. And I didn't know how to tell my wife, man. I was just like, it was bad. So I decided, that's what I was left with. I decided in December that I was going to launch a company, and that's what I did. So, and I had $200 left, and now I'm here. So
there you go. Well, now let's rebuild it, right? The world got set on fire, it went away. But what is great about the US is you can be reborn, and you have done some amazing things since then. So let's, so it's now what, 2010, 11, 12? When did, I forgot, 2012 it starts to rebuild?
Yeah. So what happened with me is, you know, I was really good at numbers, man. So I reached out to a lot of private investors and some hard money lenders, and I started just brokering cash, you know, I started brokering money, you know, and so in doing so, you're going to learn how to be real creative. And I had already learned a lot of creative stuff, because you had to get creative with the loans back then. And so that's how I was sustaining myself from, you know, from let's just say after I lost everything by late part of 08 to right around the beginnings of 11, I was facilitating private money. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm helping all these investors do all these transactions. I'm going to take a shot at this. And a good friend of mine was a real estate broker. He had been a mortgage broker. And I said, hey, let me start a real estate company under your brand. And that's what I did. A lot of people don't realize they can start a real estate company under an LLC as long as a broker sponsors you. And that's how I launched Home Buying, Home Selling. Nice. Which eventually became HBHS.
That is awesome. So this is going to be a fun story. One thing I didn't ask earlier, have you always been in San Antonio? Like this story is San Antonio through and through?
I've been here about 20 years now.
Okay.
So, I moved around a lot in the beginning, look, a lot of times, I've talked about this a little bit, I mean, I was in the military in my late teens and I've had some success and I owned a club when I was young, but I've also had some stumbles, man. I've made some massive mistakes. Like I said, I grew up on the streets, so that's what I knew. I eventually went to university, got a bachelor's degree in business and finance. And how I did that, I don't know, because if I was to share with you the amount of street knowledge or street activity that I was involved in when I was young, you think like, no, this guy has to be a statistic. But what I say to everybody is, when they come to me and they say, man, I don't know how to do this, Charles, I say, what you got to do is you got to put one foot in front of the other, make a decision, stay focused, and get it done.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, let's now start talking about the birth of HBHS, right? Because this is always fun. It's coming, rebuilding is often a better story than getting lucky the first time. And so let's talk about HBHS and how that started, because it's a fun story.
Yeah. So, I launched, it was called Home Buying, Home Selling, which we still have that company, but everybody told me that's a funny name. And and at the same time, my daughter was dating this young man who was in the military, who was making her drive to Fort Polk. And I was upset about that because she would drive all the way over there to see him. And he finally came and we met, and he was a very nice guy. And we got to know each other, and we actually became really good friends. And he's still my partner and best friend today. And I said,
wait. You're best friends with your daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah, we're friends. We're really good friends, man.
All right, there you go. That you don't hear that every day.
We're actually best friends.
That's great. I just wanted to make sure I heard it right.
Yeah, one day I asked him. I said, "Hey, funny quick story. Let me just tell you." So he was looking for a home. I said, "Hey, I can get it done for you." He went to USAA. They want like 20% down. I said, "What are you talking about? You're a vet."
Yeah.
We did the deal for my dining room table. He freaked out. He was into it. The whole deal, $50. And he said, "Man, how do you do this stuff?" Well, let me show you.
Nice.
So I asked him. I said, "Let me pay for your license." So he was actually our first real estate agent for home buying, home selling.
Nice.
And then he eventually, now he's the broker. And that's how we became partners. And what ended up happening is he was learning. He was just all the time wanting to learn. We sat next to each other for about 5 years. Within 6 months, he was talking the lingo. I looked over him. I was like, wow, this guy is really getting it. Let me tell you a funny story. He was putting all these contracts in. He wanted to flip a house, but I was gun shy because I lost everything. And then one day he came to me and said, "Hey, we got a deal." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's put it through the pipe." He said, "No, we got a deal." What do you mean? He said, "We got a deal." And that was the decision that I had to make. Like, are we going all the way, or am I gonna shy away? And we decided to move. And after that, we started doing flips after flips after flips, and then sub twos, and then wholesaling. And now we just do the whole thing. So
nice. When did that first flip come back? What year was that, you think?
That was around mid 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about your market of San Antonio, but 2012 was really the bottom for my market as well. So great timing. And again, flipping in San Antonio, right? That's what you've been doing.
Yeah. So something about San Antonio, a lot of people don't know. San Antonio really, it took a small hit. The market took a small hit, but it rebounded real quick. Now, what got destroyed was the mortgage brokers industry, and the mortgage bankers took a hit. But the lending got destroyed a bit. But the valuations really didn't take that much of a hit, and we really saw a rebound really, really quick. So I got hurt because I was in lending, but a lot of people were doing fabulous.
Okay, all right. So you remember the details on the first flip? Like, what'd you pay? What'd you do? All that? That's always fun.
I think we picked it. It was real funny. We picked it up for like 47,000.
And this was a house.
Yes. And I told him it was a small house.
Yep.
I said, "Michael, if we're going to do this, you're going to learn how to do this. We're going to do this ourselves, sweat equity."
Okay.
And I hadn't flipped the house in years since 08 or 07 rather. And we went in there and I said, "Hey, we're going to take this wall down." And I just totally lost it about, the load beams,
Yeah.
knocked out this wall. We came back the next day and the ceiling was like this.
Oops.
So I said, we're gonna hire somebody, man.
Yeah, it's a better idea.
Yeah, but it was a good deal. You know, we didn't make a lot of money that first one. We made about 8,000, but you know, we pulled our money out. It was a good learning experience for him, for myself.
Yeah. So often the first one's kind of like a proof of concept. It's often, you know, hey, you made money. A lot of people lose money the first time, Charles. So I'm guessing some is good, more is better, and that becomes a growing part of your business in 2012.
Yeah, you know, what happened was that Mike and I started falling into our own roles. So as we discovered, we started doing subject twos early. You know, a lot. You know, subject two's been around for a long time, but it's only become chic in the last 3 or 4 years. We were doing them back in, you know, in 13 and 14. So Michael really gravitated towards that, and overseeing the realty. We'd oversee the flips together. I'd oversee all the data and credit financing. And as we just kind of grew, we just started adding more stuff to our skill set. And we were really big into flipping for a long time. And actually this year, this is the year that we're going to be focused on getting more properties. We stopped during the COVID, and last year a little bit, we were focused on other stuff, but this year we're going to actually jump back into it full force. And we actually have, I think, 8 houses right now. They not only are we purchasing, but we're going to be some we're going to be flipping to sell, and some to hold.
Nice. I was curious about subject two back then. It wasn't something I've ever done. Certainly nothing I looked at back then. I'm just going to guess. Subject two back then, at least for my experience, the debt structure was horrible, right? A lot of people had these Nina loans and adjustable. I mean, most people wouldn't want to do a subject two on that because the debt would come back and bite you. Did you find a way around that?
Well, the thing, I tell everybody this, a lot of people teaching subject twos, you got to do a lot of subject twos to know what's good and what's not. So what Mike and we figured out was this. In San Antonio, cliff notes real quick, we figured out there's a lot of vets that PLC out, and they end up buying homes they can't sell because they're competing with the build down the street, especially in a stagnant market. Or you know, right now it's kind of hard because everybody thinks they can sell their house for 100,000 more than what they bought it.
Yeah.
But what we found was this: we could take over these homes, the new homes. We focus on new homes. Most of our homes are they're all very, very new homes. You know, like right now we focus on anything that's 3 years or newer.
Oh wow!
What we figured out was we could take these homes for nothing out of our pocket because they were always paid on time. No rehab because the homes are new. No reinstatement, a little bit of cleanup, and we could rent them at the time. We weren't doing Airbnb at the time. We could rent them or we could wrap them. Now, the only time we would wrap is we were putting money to reinstate. So we get our money back by selling the property at a slight premium, get our money back on the wrap as a down payment. But we're making on these deals about 5 points. So we're making about 5 points on these deals monthly. That's good income per home, but we're also building our equity into it because our loan goes down faster than theirs because of the interest rate. So we started doing a lot of zero equity subject to wraps in 2014. And then the ones that we would rent, we could keep for at least 10 years are the sub two rentals. So those are the homes that we didn't put a lot of money into it. And I tell a lot of people this: if you can get a home, we don't put a lot of money into it, rent it or Airbnb it if it's in a good area. If you're going to pay reinstatement or rehab, you should wrap those so you get your money back out. Because what you don't want is to have money trapped in the property and then you got to kick somebody out, do it all over again. You got money trapped in the property.
Yeah. So I want to go back to this kind of 2000, because again, I never done one. I'm just trying to play it together in my head. So it sounds like you were fishing mainly for VA loans, which were 30-year fixed, I'm guessing?
Yes, we were primarily looking at VA loans, and the primary reason for that was because of what I shared with you.
Yeah,
we knew the vets were always paying the properties on time because they get the income. But the other reason was there's no PMI, no MI. So the payment's lower. The payment's lower, you can make more money.
And again, San Antonio is a big hub for the military.
5 bases, brothers. 5 bases called military city USA, you know.
You're going hunting. I like it. Okay. This makes total sense to me now. And I've never done. Do VA loans have this due on sale clause and stuff like that? Or
well, they don't. I
don't know.
All the loans have due on sales. You know, we've had 2 loans called on us, and it was for real freaky reasons. So we protect ourselves as we learn stuff that happens, right? And I won't go into why that was called, but it was this weird stuff that happened. But the due on sale, look, everybody needs to understand the lender has the right to call it due on sale.
Yeah.
Now, what we do is this: if we're going to do what we call a sub-2 flip, meaning we find a property with some equity, we'll do sub-2 flip. We're going to most likely put that into an LLC because we want to get out of that pretty quickly. You can't put it into a trust, then you got to pull it out of the trust, put it into LLC. If we're going to hold something for 5 years or more, we're going to put it into a trust. Not just one protect you more than the other. Look, it doesn't. The thing about the trust, what I like about it is this: is that if someone passes away and you have an LLC, you have it in LLC, and they give you a POA, that POA is no good. If you end up holding the property for 5 years, 6, 7 years, 7, 8 years, and the title company says, well, hey, we need to verify if this POA is still good, and you can't find that guy, they're not going to honor that POA. But with the trust lives. So whether that person passes away or gets lost on you, you're still the trustee of the trust. You get to make decisions of the trust. And how we take care of that is not only do we get the individuals to sign the trust over to us, right? We get all the beneficiary rights to the trust. So we own what's in the trust. So that's how we do it. Everybody, there's a lot of attorneys that fight on both sides, LLC, trust. What I say to attorneys that do this stuff is, look, you write paper. How many of these properties do you own? How many banks have you talked to? How many times have you had to fight for the insurance or fight the bank? How many times have you done it? Okay, if you haven't done it, then how can you tell me which one's better than the other? Yeah. So this is our experience, man. We've done probably over 300 subject twos. We own our portfolio is probably around 89 properties right now, and about half of those are sub-2 wraps, sub-2 rentals. Nice.
And just so people know, POA is
a power of attorney.
Yeah, power of attorney. Very cool. So okay, so 2013, 14, it's growing. You're finding a way to make it work. You're holding some. You're wrapping others. Your income's going up. No dead money in deals. I like it. Where's the next step? When do you start to hold? Because right now we're still flipping. When did you say, hey, let's hold some?
We started holding in 2014.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We started figuring out. So it came in stages. We were doing realty, and right away we went into flipping. So we're flipping. And what happens, guys, is when you're doing a lot of deals, you're gonna find that things sometimes don't work the way you want them to.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions.
Yeah.
So what we found is, man, we got to keep this one. We can't sell it.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out how to do that. And so back then, there's a lot of people teaching today. We can find a lot of stuff on YouTube, but back then a lot of the information wasn't out there. So we had to reverse engineer a lot of this stuff, and we figured out how to do subject to. So we said, hey, let's keep some of these. We started keeping them. And truth be told, we didn't really start wholesaling until 2015.
Okay.
We understood people were doing it. Nobody would tell us how to do it. And today I tell people how to do it. Like, this is how you do it. 15 minutes, this is how you go. And we just reverse engineered it. So as we grew from realty to doing flips, subject twos, which led to rentals and wraps, and then we started wholesaling, and then it went from there. And that's really pretty much how we just kept building on strategies.
That's awesome. So let's, so you talked about COVID slowing things down a little bit. So it's late 2019, things are humming along, and this little beer virus comes out and really puts a dent in stuff. So what happened there?
Well, Mike, if you don't mind, let me just jump back to 2016.
Okay.
In 2016, we decided to build a team, because back then it was just Mike and I.
Oh, okay.
So we opened up an office. You know what? Let's do it. And right away, we had a team, man. And to this day, we have about 5 guys that are still with us.
Nice.
And I love those guys. And I just want to thank them on this. I want to acknowledge those guys here.
Perfect.
I won't say all their names, but they're here with us.
Come on, say their first names. Come on, let's give them some props.
We got Manny Cash, we got Miguel, we got Frank, Father Frank. Of course, my boy Michael. We have Teddy, which is Alejandro. And then we got Mario and Daniel. They've been with us the longest.
Cool.
And of course, we, in this business, you're going to see a lot of turnover, but those guys have been down with us the longest. And here's the thing, they rode the whole way with us, up and down, up and down, up and down. So we get to COVID, the COVID area. What happened with us, buddy? In October 2019, we were heavy into El Paso. For a few months, we were picking up a lot of subject twos.
Okay.
We had 12 that we had taken on. And we noticed the market started to slow
Mm,
at that time, and then
yeah,
COVID hit.
right.
We paid 12 mortgages for almost 6 months. Now imagine that.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the home, and you told these people you're going to pay their mortgage, an average of about $1,600 per home. And we were so lucky that right before COVID really started hitting hard, that we got people in all those homes,
Nice.
and but you know, that's the type of volume we were doing with sub two. We were taking on a lot of properties every single month, and
Mhm.
we were either creating transactions and selling those to investors who wanted to do what we do but didn't have the logistics, or
Mhm.
we were taking them down ourselves.
Yeah. And again, most of these sub twos, even back, in 19, were 30-year fixed rate mortgages.
Yeah, we all the ones we have are 30 years. So.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, that the whole debt structure is something you got to watch. Not only in subject to, but I think you're going to watch it in commercial. It's going to hurt a lot of people because that's what hurt people back in 08 is the debt structure blew up. It wasn't the asset. It was
Yeah,
the debt that became a problem. So
we
very,
got
very cool.
we got really lucky. We're real careful about who we put into the homes.
Mhm.
There's always an exception. There's always that guy.
Yeah,
But man, all our people paid.
nice.
We-
Yeah.
they all paid. And,
I was really nervous in March, right? March of whatever that was, 2020. I'm like, damn, dude, what happens if half my portfolio doesn't pay? But
yeah,
now knock on wood, 2 years later, it's only about a 1% delta year to year. So I mean, it was down, but not down what I thought it would be.
we experienced about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. So now I'm excited, man. Now you're out there, you're helping people. You're doing amazing things. Where do you take this HBHS? Because it's got some legs.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to say one thing about COVID, man. COVID hit me, man. I want to just go back to that. I
Sure.
passed away from it. I was in the hospital for 2 months
You were in the hospital for 2 months.
with the machine and everything.
Wow.
And what I meant to say about my people was, and I forgot to say this, was the company kept going, even with me not here. And
Shout out to them.
I love all these guys, but with HBHS, our goal today in 2022 is last year around May, we started an association
Mhm.
where we hold events every single month. And we average about 150. We've got up to 250, 120. We average about 150 people coming out every single month to come here to talk about stuff. We bring some special guests, but most of it's being Mike just sharing information. It's a RIA, but I like to call it an association. We have a online association where we share a lot of content. We share a lot of content on YouTube. We have a private community where investors sign up with us, and every week we're just sharing just information about real estate that we do and stuff we have experience in. Our goal for HBHS, and I never wanted to do this, Mike. I'll be honest with you, I resisted this for many, many years. I never wanted to be that educational guy.
Okay.
I never wanted to be that guy because I experienced a lot of the negativity of that coming up, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the way the market's going. I mean, that's the way the real estate's going, and we happen to have a lot of knowledge. We have a scope of work. We have the track record, and so we're launching our own educational platform. But you never know. I mean, some people like the way some people teach, some people don't.
Yeah.
We're going to give it a shot. We have a lot to offer. We have a huge scope of work, and I always tell everybody this: if you're going to learn from somebody, I'm not saying you can't learn from somebody who just started, because I don't ever throw anybody on the bus. But if I wanted to learn from somebody, I'm going to learn from somebody who's been doing it a minute. So
I will second that. I think there are a lot of I don't know what to call them, but basically, if you've been doing this for 5 years or less, you have only known an up market. And I believe a recession could be in the offing later this year.
Yep.
Certainly next year. And you really learn about yourself, what you can do, how you fight through things in the downtime. A lot of people make money. You talked about the pre-crash. I knew there was a problem when a real estate broker in a very small city of Madera, California, bought one of 6, why am I drawing a blank on the car? Some super sports car. There were only 6 McLaren, one of 6 McLarens. I'm like, why the hell is this real estate, not even broker, I'm sorry, real estate agent bought a McLaren. I'm like, dude, something is wrong. This is not normal.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And like I said, I don't throw people under the bus, but what I tell individuals who have been doing this for 3 years, maybe four, and they've had some success, I say, guys, when this market eventually takes a dip,
Mhm.
you're gonna know what you're made of, man. Because most of my friends that were in the real estate business, with the exception of maybe two or three, and I knew a lot of people are
Oh
gone.
yeah. Gone.
It's
Never to come
gone.
back.
Never came back.
Yeah. What I would tell a young hustler today that's had success the last 2 or 3 years is if you're not putting money away for a rainy day, you're not going to have an umbrella when it gets nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor, Charles. Tell people where they can find you. Tell them where you're hosting all this stuff. Where do we want to send people?
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. We have a Facebook association. I have a link here.
Mhm.
If you don't mind, let me see.
Sure.
Probably need to share
Oh,
your. Let me share this with you, everybody.
there you go. I just gave you access.
Okay, so let me get to this one first.
Mhm.
There we go. This is our Instagram, Mike and me. If you guys want to follow us, we put a lot of stuff on Instagram. That's mainly where people contact us at.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to hit us up can hit us up there.
Mhm.
Now where you can find a lot of educational stuff that we do
Mhm.
is right here. This is gonna be, let me see here. This is gonna be our YouTube channel. And
Nice.
guys, if you're interested in some of the stuff that we do, you are more than welcome and more than welcome to join us here on Alliance. So Alliance is a group that we started here in December. We go in there and it's one-on-one with me, Mike. Like tonight, I'm doing a presentation. It takes about an hour and a half, and there's no holds barred. We disclose everything we can within that hour. We have a lot of our videos there, a lot of PDFs there with a lot of information.
Mm.
But what we do is we disclose a lot of stuff. If we talk about subject two and whatever area of subject two we're going to be talking about, we're going to go deep into it. And tonight we're going to be talking about bankruptcies and subject twos. So I'm going to go deep into that and share with people what our experience has been. We've won every single time somebody has filed bankruptcy on us on the seller side or the buyer side, and there's a way to do that. And so I think I want to say it's happened to us a little over 10 times. Like, I don't have the number exactly in my mind,
Sure.
but we've won every single time. There's a link right there if you're interested. Join Alliance. I welcome anybody to come in. Now, I will say this, Mike, and I did ask you, that is a paid community. But the reason we did that is because we want to deal with people who want to deal with us. We want to deal with people who want to deal with each other. And it's kind of hard to do that on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram because everybody's all over the board. What we want to do in the community is get to know you. We want to know you first name basis. We want to know what's going on. You got an issue, you have a problem. Hey, I got this deal. I don't know how to do it. Okay, let's get it done. And that's what we built the Alliance community for.
Very cool, man. Charles, I appreciate you. Got a great story. Again, it's 20 years in the making and you own it, man. I think you're doing some great stuff. I think subject to is going to be an amazing strategy in the next recession. So many people are going to have 30-year debt under 3%. That is going to become an asset when rates are 5 or 6%. So it's a strategy I have to learn. I've never done it, never poked at it. I've been a strictly buy and hold guy with 30-year debt. So I know I need to ramp up my game. So
hey, Mike,
thank you.
Let me know, brother. Man, I got you, man. I'll leave everybody with a nugget right now.
There you go.
If you're going to learn subject to with this coming downturn that we're going to have, people are going to be losing their homes. What you really need to learn is this. You need to learn how to modify loans, and you need to learn all the different modifications for the different structural loans, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA. If you learn that, you'll be able to push back the reinstatements to the back of the loan, take over subject to, get these deals done.
There you go, man. Folks, again, Charles gave you ways to follow him. I'd follow him on Instagram. Go check out the Alliance if that's what you want to do. But yeah, sure. Again, subject to is an area I know zero about. It is something that I need to add to my bag of tricks going forward, because I would like to get some 30-year debt under 3%, Charles. That's some pretty cheap ass money.
Let me know, brother. I got you, man.
All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.